Welcome back, folks. This is Sarcasm Speaks. I'm Jared. He's Bob. And then I don't know what the organization of this, if you're watching on YouTube, but you can see someone different. We got a fun guest today. This is Iain MacMillan, now from Bet-Sided, right?
That's right. Yep. Just started with Bet-Sided a couple months ago.
Nice. What's that been like?
It's been good, especially they're located down the States. As you guys might know, I think you guys know, I'm in Canada, so I get the opportunity to move down the States. I'm going to move down there next month in August, so I'm excited for that. It's like a whole new world opening up for me down there.
Yeah, quite literally, actually, right? Because from what I've heard, you guys have still not really opened up anything, right?
We're slowly starting to open up now, but like I was in like up until like last month, like mid-June, I was in full on 100% lockdown. I couldn't even leave. I wasn't allowed to leave my city. I wasn't even allowed to leave like the small area of my city. So yeah, we're like a solid 6 months, 8 months behind you guys as far as the whole vaccine rollout and opening things up are. So yeah.
That's wild. And we were slow. I mean, we're in Massachusetts. So, I mean, we were pretty far behind the rest of the country. And then, holy shit, that's like a whole other world.
It's funny. I talked to a girl that was in Ireland, and she said in mid to late June, all they have over there is AstraZeneca, and the only people who could get it were 65 and older. That was in June.
Wow.
So as bad as Massachusetts was, and as much as they dragged their feet, it's still like light years away from, some of these European countries and parts of Canada, etc.
I haven't got my second dose yet. I'm supposed to get it later this week, but like, yeah, we were behind with the vaccines. So
that's crazy, but hopefully everything's going in the right direction, at least for you guys. So I follow your podcast. For anyone that's listening, it's the Bacon Bets podcast, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Shameless plug. You're welcome.
I appreciate it. I mean, to be honest, I've hardly done it recently. Ever since I started this new job, it's been a hectic couple of months trying to get my life together, figuring out the new job, getting the flow of things with that. And really, it's kind of the dog days of summer. There's not a whole lot going on. I wanted to do a podcast for each of the major golf tournaments. I didn't get to it for the Open Championship, but yeah, Bacon Bets podcast, especially once the NFL season gets kicked into gear here. It's coming up. It's coming up quick.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do the same thing I did last year, which was bet on every single NFL game. And now they've tossed in another week of action here for this season. So I'll probably do that again. So check it out. Yeah, exactly.
So on that, last year you bet on every single game, and I remember this. Do you remember what your record was?
I don't remember what the record was exactly. I remember I walked away about up 7 units. And what was interesting was that actually spread, because I would do one bet for every game is either spread, total, or I would do at least one underdog money line each week. And those underdog money lines are actually kind of what saved me, because I was down a little bit of money on spread bets, but like I was up like 10 units or something on my underdog bets. I hit a couple like 3-1 picks. I remember Washington when they handed Pittsburgh their first loss of the season. I was on that side. So I think I might dabble in those underdog money lines a little bit more this year. But yeah, I did finish slightly up at the end of the season. So that's kind of my goal again this year will be to see if I can fit, even if it's like a 2-unit profit. If I'm, in my opinion, when it comes to sports betting, man, if you're not losing, you're winning. So that's gonna be the goal again this year.
Yeah, it's kind of how I look at it too, except I lose all the time. Although I will say, I think I tailed you on that Washington pick. So thanks for that.
Yeah, that was probably the one I was most proud of last season, because Steelers were undefeated at the time. I saw a couple holes. I took a shot. Sometimes you just got to take a shot, guys. You just got to take a shot.
Well, it's also so rare. Like it almost never happens that a team goes undefeated.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially a team like the Steelers, who were like almost dead last in running the football. They didn't have a great offense. They won a few close games before that. So
yeah.
So
what I was actually going to ask before too, was what's the process been like getting a visa? So obviously, like we live in the greatest country in the world, so there's no reason for us to leave.
Yeah, of course. Of course. That's why I'm coming to the
exactly.
To America,
this is just proof. But because again, like I said, I'd been following your podcast, and you're saying that it's kind of a pain in the ass, and then right in the middle of a pandemic, you're trying to get a visa. But what has that been like? Just an absolute nightmare?
Well, the tricky part of it is there's 3 different kind of visas that you can kind of apply for, from my understanding. Number 1, you have to be some kind of academic, and I'm not. Unfortunately, I don't have a degree in sports betting. I'm not teaching, seminars in sports betting, so that was off the list. The second is like a lottery that you have to enter, and you can only enter it in April. So that's kind of out of the question for right now too. So the other kind is called like a TN non-immigrant visa or something like that. And I can't actually apply for it until you're at the border ready to cross. So I don't even have a visa right now, and they might just decline me at the border. I don't really know, because like it's the listings that you need for them to grant you the visa are all very vague. As my cat walks across the camera here, she gets jealous when I talk to other people, so she needs some attention. So I might have my car packed, ready to go, ready to move to the States, have an apartment rented in New York, and then they just decline me at the border. So August the 13th is going to be my move day when I'm going to try to cross the border, and I'm going to be nervous that day because I have no idea what's going to happen. I've had to hire a lawyer to help me out, because I was like, if I just do this by myself, there's no way they're going to let me through.
Yeah.
So I
have pieces of paper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Please let me through. I have the documents. So I did hire a lawyer, but even then, I mean, I'm like 90% sure, but I'm at least, if I'm going to get declined at the border, I think I'm just going to keep driving and move to either Montreal or Toronto, because I got to get out of the Atlantic time zone. I'm in Nova Scotia. The Atlantic time zone is an hour past Eastern time zone. I see on Twitter all the time people complaining about having to stay up late to watch sports when they're in the Eastern time zone, and I'm even an hour later than that. Like Sunday night football, I'm not going to bed till 2 a.m. So I got to get out of the Atlantic time zone. So I'm going to move to either Montreal or Toronto if I do end up getting declined. But yeah, the visa situation's not as easy as I initially thought it was.
That's crazy. And then there's nothing Bet-Sided can do either, right?
No, not really. I mean, they direct me to this lawyer, but I mean, at the end of if I was like a doctor, or if I was like an engineer or something like that, it'd be super easy. But being kind of like a writer editor is a little bit tougher. So
yeah,
we'll hope for the best. See what happens.
I had one of my lacrosse coaches in high school was here on a Canadian visa, a work visa.
Oh yeah.
And he quit halfway through the season. So we made the joke that he was going to have to go back to Canada, and we were going to call ICE on him.
Yeah. Wait, where was he from in Canada?
I can't really remember. I don't know. High school was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And he wasn't a great coach. He was with us for like a month.
Did he move down to the States literally just to coach high school lacrosse?
No. So funny story. He actually played for the old Boston Blaze. I don't know if you're a lacrosse fan or not.
I played a bit of lacrosse growing up.
Yeah. You guys got box lacrosse, right?
Yeah. I guess you guys all play field lacrosse, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all box up here.
Yeah. So he came down, and this was a box lacrosse league, and he played for them professionally. I mean, it's lacrosse, but I mean, he was a professional, so it's more than I've ever been able to say about myself.
Sure.
And yeah, he came down to do that, and he was friends with one of our coaches, and then he came on as a coach, and then just said, "Screw you guys," because we weren't that good.
Makes sense. Was it the NLL that he was playing for?
Yeah, it was.
Go Toronto Rock, man.
Yeah,
Toronto Rock's my team.
That's funny. Yeah, the now defunct. I think that lasted like maybe a year and a half.
Is it defunct? I don't even know. I know there's a field lacrosse league down in the States now, but
yeah, the MLL doesn't even exist anymore.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It got bought out by this other thing. I don't know.
I think lacrosse is better in a rink. I think box lacrosse is better than field lacrosse.
Yeah, it's definitely quicker.
Yeah.
It's like hockey. It's like stand-up hockey.
It is. It's I mean that's literally what you play on. You play on in hockey rinks when the ice isn't in.
Yeah. Did you ever play hockey?
Oh yeah. I mean in Canada you're basically born with a pair of skates on.
Well, I was going to ask, at what age did you start skating?
Oh, I honestly think I was skating before I was walking. I know that that's kind of like a Canadian stereotype, but like it was literally like my parents would be like holding me up by my arms, my little feet going with my little mini skates. So like I started playing hockey first year, which is I think I was like 4 years old, maybe played all the way up until the end of high school. I transitioned to football a little bit my last few years of high school and kind of stopped playing hockey. But yeah, I was a goalie in hockey. Goalies are always a little bit weird, so I kind of fit that description a little bit. I mean, you got to be kind of weird to just be willing to stand in front of these pieces of hard rubber coming at you at like 80 miles an hour. So
yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, basically anyone who plays sports growing up in Canada played hockey, especially out here on the East Coast.
Now, I would imagine it might be a little different for you guys because, like you said, everyone plays hockey, but and for us, Massachusetts and just New England in general is a hotbed for hockey. You know, we got Boston College, Boston University, Northeastern, like, you know, they're all great. Yeah. But everyone that plays hockey around here is like convinced that they're going to go pro. And they're like, yeah, I'm just going to do like, you know, 1 or 2 years of juniors. And then, you know, I'll probably try and get drafted somewhere. And it's like, I don't know about that.
Well, it's tough. And the funny thing is, juniors here is an absolute embarrassment to juniors up north.
Right.
That's actual hockey. Juniors down here is a nice little thing that some kids do.
Yeah, it's kind of different between Canada and the US because in hockey, like the league that you're playing before the NHL in Canada, it's junior or major junior because there's different levels of junior. But in the States, you go college. And then NHL. But here, you play major junior. If you don't make the NHL, then you go play college. So even college hockey here is a pretty high level. But yeah, major junior here would be quite a bit different from junior down in the States for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't sure if, you know, people had that false sense of skill.
Yeah. What it's like here in Canada, and I assume just from the media that I consume, I think it's similar. Like hockey's here, what like football is like down in Texas. Like it's like the local hockey games, everyone goes. The high school games are sold out, packed arenas. Growing up, the politics that's involved in the tryouts. Like when you're playing minor hockey, it's all one tryout, and then they put you off and do it, whether you're AAA, AA, A, B, or house league. And it's all one tryout. So you get like 200 kids trying out for these teams, and the parents are yelling at each other in the stands, and all the parents think their kids are going pro, and it gets pretty nasty, man. I assume that's what it's like for football, like down in Texas. It gets pretty crazy around here.
Yeah. I will say though, too, I got to admit, Canada is home to, I think, definitely at least one of my top 3 favorite arenas in the NHL. The Winnipeg Jets. Their arena is phenomenal. I love watching Jets games just to see the crowd go wild.
I was gonna say, so it's less the arena, because I know what you're getting at. It's less the arena, and it's more that they fit 13 or 11,000 people into some place that should probably only fit about 9, and it's just nonstop. They're loud. It's a whiteout, but they're kind of not that good anymore. Like when they went on that run, it was nice to watch, and we said it. We were like, man, it would be nice to watch, like just be there, because it was just like you don't see that. We don't see that anywhere else. Maybe Seattle for football, but that's about it.
Yeah, we don't see like that in the US, especially for hockey.
Right. Well, there's 2 things about Winnipeg, about the Jets. One, obviously, you guys know they didn't have a team for a while. What was it? The Atlanta Thrashers ended up moving back up, was it?
Yeah, they did pretty awesome down there.
Yeah, so I think a lot of Jets fans are just happy to have hockey back. And also, there's nothing else to do in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is one of the worst cities in Canada. So of course they're gonna cram that stadium. There's nothing else to do. I mean, I shouldn't really be talking. I'm from the East Coast, where we have nothing going on to the point we don't even have professional sports out here. So I shouldn't chirp Winnipeg too much.
Yeah, Nova Scotia is its own. Is it province, right?
Province, yeah. Yeah, like our closest professional sports, we'd have to go to Montreal. Would be the Canadians are there, and like we don't even have a CFL team. Canadian football, our cities here aren't even big enough to host a CFL team. So we get the UFC came here a couple times, and that was huge news for here. I went to the first time here, and it was nuts because, like I said, we don't get any professional sports. We're too small out here.
Yeah. So do you guys have any sort of rivalry with Labrador?
Labrador. People don't even think about Labrador, to be honest. Labrador is kind of an after. I don't know. I don't think I've met a single person that lives in Labrador, because it's kind of weird because it's really like part of Quebec, but I mean it's not really. It's kind of sectioned off its own thing. But no, we have like the Atlantic Canada bubble, and we're like our own. It's our own little world out here because we have Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and then Newfoundland. Labrador we don't even think about, but then Newfoundland. And then we have Quebec serves as like a wall between us and Ontario, and nobody likes Quebec or French Canadians whatsoever. So we're just in like Atlantic Canada is kind of in its own little world, its own little bubble here. It's kind of wild. I mean, if you ever talk to someone from Newfoundland, like a true Newfoundlander, their accents are so thick. I have trouble understanding them, and I live in Atlantic Canada. So it's truly our own little world out here.
So that's really funny. Hearing you say no one likes Quebec. Do you watch Letterkenny?
Yes. Yeah. I've watched the first couple seasons of it. Yeah. Letterkenny's an extremely good and accurate representation of like rural Canada for sure.
That is awesome to hear, because I was wondering like how accurate it really is. I think it's supposed to parody a town in Quebec. I
think it's Northern Ontario.
Yeah, no, Ontario. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Excuse my ignorant American ass. I thought Toronto. I was going to say whatever province Toronto is in.
yeah. But Toronto's basically the States. It's way down South Ontario. But when you get Northern Ontario, it's pretty rural. But yeah, I watched that show and in the characters, I'm like, oh yeah, that's just like so-and-so from high school. And oh yeah, the character's exactly like this guy that I know from home. Did you guys ever watch Trailer Park Boys before?
I've seen a few episodes, yeah, but I never watched it like religiously.
Oh, okay. Trailer Park Boys is based in the city that I'm living in right now, so like that's an even more accurate depiction. And that show, you would think while watching it, you'd think it's like parody and not even close to the way people act like, but like actual people around here are almost identical to those Trailer Park Boys characters. Funny show. I recommend it if you haven't watched it already.
I'll have to get back. It's funny because anytime I bring up Letterkenny, everyone always says Trailer Park Boys is great too.
Yeah.
But it's funny that, like I said, hearing you say like no one likes Quebec is literally a line from the show. yeah. It's true. It's true. There's, I mean, Quebec tried to become its own country like back in the 90s. And yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, they actually became pretty close to separating and becoming their own country. But yeah, French Canadians in general have an attitude that doesn't jive with the rest of Canada.
I mean, they still have the Queen on all their stuff, don't they? Or is that all you guys?
Everywhere in Canada.
All you guys.
Our currency is all still the same.
Quebec doesn't have their own money.
Yeah. Nah, you guys got to get away from that Queen over there.
Yeah, we're still lightly connected to the monarchy. Yeah, the Queen's on all our money.
Yeah, I remember. So my vast experience up north, the one hockey tournament I played in when I was 10. Every fucking and it was in Montreal, and every person I met was an absolute dickhead. It was incredible. It's like they know you don't speak French, but they'll only speak to you in French just so that they can then, sarcastically speak to you in English. It's like, yeah, I'm fucking 10. Like, I'm 10 years old.
Now, here I am trashing on Quebec. One of the cities I mentioned I'm going to move to if I get declined at the border is Montreal. Because actually, out of all of Quebec, Montreal is not too bad. It's fairly English. But if you ever go to like Quebec City, like they will just straight up refuse to speak to you in English. Quebec City is a little bit of an older city. Montreal's not too bad, though. I kind of like Montreal a couple times I've been there.
Yeah, I feel like Montreal is more like touristy. I don't know what the word is, like touristized.
Yeah.
Where, they know that in order to keep attracting people, you got to conform a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. You can live in Montreal not being able to speak any French, but the rest of Quebec, it'd be tough.
Yeah. That's a pain.
Yeah.
Did you take French in school?
I took a couple years of French immersion. I can speak very, very little tiny bit of French. Yeah.
Oui.
Yeah. Is that the extent of your French knowledge?
Oh yeah.
Hey, do you guys take Spanish courses though, don't you?
Yeah.
We would take French. You guys take Spanish, right?
Yeah. Somehow I still remember a lot of French. French,
even now, so I've got a couple kids that go to private schools, and it's like Roxbury Latin's a school they still make them take Latin. So I look at them, I'm like, the fuck, they make you take Latin? And they're just spewing the bullshit like, oh, well, it's the base of every other language. And I'm like, yeah, but it's different fucking languages. Just because you speak fucking Latin doesn't mean you can speak Italian. They're different. And
yeah,
then,
I mean, is there any country that speaks Latin as their primary language? Yeah. It's a dead language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go to some.
The only person who's ever made a compelling argument, she was like, oh, I'm taking Latin. I go, why? She goes, I want to go into biology and all the words are in Latin. I'm like, I mean, I still don't agree with you, but at least that's a decent point.
Or maybe unless you're like a hardcore Catholic, because I think there's some hardcore like Catholic churches that like do their services in Latin, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or
you guys have a big Catholic population up around you?
Some areas, but to be completely honest, and this is something I find, because obviously the majority of the media and everything I consume is all American. Religion is basically doesn't exist among my generation. I don't know a single person that goes to church or would pray or would thank God for their accomplishments. Like literally not a single person. Religion is basically dead. And you can see that like churches are all around here, all boarded up for the most part. In the cities, obviously they have a few, but religion, I think, is dying in Canada as opposed to United, especially at least from what I can tell, the southern United States. It seems like everyone is still, at least if you ask them if you're religious, most people down south would say yes. But
yeah, that is a big difference in the U.S. of the North versus the South. Like up around here, like you were saying, I don't know, like Bob, you can agree or disagree, but I don't think I know one person under the age of like 40 that actually goes to church like regularly. Like I know some people that might go like Christmas Eve mass or like Easter mass or whatever, but it's like, it's the same. I don't know anybody.
No, I think so. A couple of my clients, like a couple older people, will still go. Then you get the people like in their late 30s, 40s who like want their kids to go through like confirmation and communion and all that crap. So they like pretend to go to church a little bit. And then by the time that all passes, they won't go ever again. So I don't know. It's a really straight, like the sacraments and all that crap. It's a really strange thing if you think about it, because it's like I did it, but like, why?
Yeah, I was on a similar path where I was just basically going through Sunday school and eventually going to be going through confirmation. But then my hockey games started happening on Sunday. So my parents were like, yeah, maybe hockey's a little bit more important. Yeah. So I didn't even get confirmed into the Catholic Church. But if there are religions, to go back to your earlier question, it's mostly Catholic around here.
Yeah.
Especially because Nova Scotia is all Scottish and Irish people for the most part, right? I mean, my name is about as Scottish of a name as you can get. Iain MacMillan, Ian spelled with a second I in there, the Gaelic way. So, Nova Scotia is almost all Scottish and Irish people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty similar. I did the whole Catholic thing all throughout, and then when I got to high school, I had homecoming was the same weekend as we had to do this like confirmation retreat. And I was like, I think I'm going to go to homecoming instead. So then I just never got confirmed. And then I said, I'm done. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then, obviously everything came out about the Catholic Church after that. And, I beat down the door to be their number one fan now because of all that.
Yeah. I was going to say, if there's anything we know about the Catholic Church, is marketing is not their strong suit.
No,
I'm at like confirmation prep or confirmation practice, whatever. And the priest like looks at us and goes, and once you go through confirmation, it's now your choice whether you want to continue coming to church or not. I'm like, that I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's an easy choice. Yeah.
But you just gave me permission to bail. Like, you should not have said that, man.
I remember when the last Sunday schools that I was in, I was sitting there and I was listening to the priest talk, and he's walking up and down the aisle, and he was doing an anti-porn speech. And as he did it, he put his hand on my shoulder, and I was like, oh my God, he knows. That made me very religious for about 2 months.
Looking over the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, does he have access to my phone?
Yeah, exactly. God must have told him God does exist.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Guys, this is real.
Yeah.
So Ian, question for you is is sports betting legal in Canada, or is it in certain provinces?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's always been legal. It's legal across the country, but and this is so weird and so unnecessary. And thankfully, this is finally starting to change. But they had a law in place that in order to bet on sports, you have to bet on at least 2 events. So you have to do parlays by law. So I as soon as I turned 18, I could bet, and there's not even sports books. You literally just go to the gas station or a convenience store, like you would buy a lottery ticket. There's like those little bubble sheets, and you fill in. They print you off a ticket, and each game or event has a number, and you got to fill out your ticket. You can pick up to 8 games, but you at least have to bet on 2 games, which to people who don't know much about sports betting, you're really ripping those people off and kind of scamming them because you're forcing them to do parlays, and parlays are not a good idea.
I think parlays are awful.
Yeah, I mean that's where sports books make all their money, are people betting parlays. And I think when I first started sports betting when I was 18 and I didn't know offshore books existed, I went like 0 for 30. My first, they're called pro lines, is what they're called, a pro line ticket. I went like over. I have a picture of a stack of tickets I had when I was in college before I won one, because I was doing like these stupid 4 and 5 leg parlays trying to get rich on a $2 ticket. But thankfully, it's probably a month ago, they finally passed the bill C-1830, I don't know, something like that. And it's finally going to legalize single game sports betting. So, and I think in that bill as well, they're going to allow like private sports books, because before it was all like government run, like the lottery was. So, but yeah, I think their initial thought was, with that law, was that it was a way to make it so you couldn't fix games, because if you're going to fix a game, you'd have to fix at least 2. But I mean, Bill down the street's not fixing an NHL game between the Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens to win a $25 pro line ticket. So it's all kind of stupid to begin with. So thankfully they finally realized it. We're getting single game sports betting. But I mean, for the past probably 8 years, I've been betting on offshore websites, which is 100% legal to bet on those websites. Like there's even advertisements for some of the offshore books that are around on TV and stuff, but you couldn't accept bets in Canada as a private industry. But since those are located literally offshore, you could bet on them all you want. So but yeah, thankfully they're finally changing that rule, because that's one of the most stupidest laws of all time.
That's pretty cool though. So you'll be able to go to like a gas station and make a single bet.
I don't know I don't know if they're going to like keep the pro line tickets in place where you have to bet at least 2, but then they're also going to have like sports books that you can go and bet on single game events. I don't know the exact details of how that's all going to work out, because this bill just got passed like literally maybe 2-3 weeks ago, a month at most. So yeah, that's a good question. I hadn't thought about that. I don't know if they'll allow you just to go to a gas station and place like a large single place bet. That's an interesting question. We'll have to see how it kind of gets sorted out.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have a lottery in Canada? Yeah. Because I know that's a big thing. So I think what Bob was getting at was in Massachusetts, we fucking suck and we can't get it together and get sports betting going. We've been trying 3 years. It's been through our like state legislature, and it just keeps getting shut down. It's it's politics. It's, everyone's for it, but the governor, or like the governor's for it, but like 2 state senators aren't. It's stupid.
It's the state senate. They keep crushing it.
Yeah. So we've literally watched every single state around us get sports betting, starting with Rhode Island to Connecticut, like Maine, New Hampshire. The only place that doesn't have it is Vermont, but no one cares about Vermont. It might as well be Canada.
In the actual, because I was saying the actual
ricochet shot of Canada, but okay.
Because in the actual inhabited parts of Massachusetts, because out west is Here Be Dragons or something, super nice golf courses and mountains and dragons. I don't know what else is Game of Thrones stuff. It takes, I'd say, Mello, what do you think? From the New Hampshire border to the Rhode Island border, straight line, hour and a half?
Yeah.
So to get through
with no traffic,
the height of Massachusetts, yeah, if there's no traffic, it's only an hour and a half. So if you live in any part of the state, it's not a bad drive to just go over the border. Yet this has been happening for years, because New Hampshire has state liquor stores and cigarettes are cheap up there. Like, people have been doing this forever, and it's like now people are going over the border to the state liquor store. They just stop in the parking lot, every Sunday morning the parking lot's packed and the place ain't open yet. Everyone's putting their bets through, everyone's buying their cartons of cigarettes, and everyone's buying their booze, shipping on back, and it's just the state just will not get it together. But
I mean, you got to think that they're eventually going to. I mean, it seems to be becoming legal in more and more states as time goes on. I feel like as more states make it legal, they have to, like, they're not going to be the last state to not legalize sports betting, but it's got to be frustrating waiting for it to happen. That's for sure.
Yeah. We put, so Massachusetts put 16 somewhere between 12 to 16 bills. It's like a record for the amount of bills that were created, and we still don't have it. But now on Thursday, and this just came out today, on Thursday, there's a joint bill from the House and the Senate in our state government, and they're going to have a hearing on it on Thursday. So I got scheduled disappointment for Thursday for Massachusetts residents.
There you go. Is weed legal in Massachusetts?
Oh, yeah. We were like one of the first 5 states to legalize weed.
Yeah, we were so Massachusetts is very progressive on gay marriage, weed, definitely not sports betting.
That seems
everything
so
but sports betting.
Yeah. I would have thought all those would have went hand in hand.
Well, the funny part about it is, so we were railing on it on this show, like right around last summer, because there was all this stuff about, like, you know, the pandemic, and we have to do some economic, you know, stimulus and figure out ways to help the economy and all this. And, you know, we were talking about, like, you have all these degenerates that are like banging down the door, begging to give the state their money. Right. And they're just not doing it. And at one point it was named like the Massachusetts, like, Pandemic Recovery Act or something. And someone, I don't know, some politician included sports betting in the bill, and it got struck down and taken out. And the reasoning was it wasn't related to economic, like something in economics.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here like, are you shitting me? Like, the state of New Jersey said they got what, 7 million in 1 month or something. Like, all of these states do you know the actual number? I'm just making shit up.
New Jersey's doing, like, in handle, they're doing like 800 million a month.
Yeah, there you go. That's more. 7 million.
I don't know what the tax rate is off of that, but the state is probably generating in state net profit probably about $500,000, if not more. I'm sorry, $500 million. Sorry.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's why, like, when private sports books are, when they're allowed in Canada, like, I'm not going to be betting on offshore books anymore. Well, I'll probably be down the States by then anyways, but I'm going to lose money to sports books. I'd rather them go to like a government run entity, or at least an entity that has to pay some of that money to the government, instead of just my losses just go to a random company that's based in, you know,
Antigua.
Bermuda or something.
I've given a lot of money to Antigua. So
yeah, exactly. So I'd rather the money I'm going to lose, I'd rather go to the government. Now, whether or not the government's going to do anything good with that money is another question. But
I'd rather it go to our government than Antigua's government.
Yeah, exactly.
Bermuda. I can assure you ain't going anywhere good there.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
All right. So obviously, I think everyone knows at this point you're from Canada. But anyone that doesn't follow you might not know that you're a big Maple Leafs fan, because you mentioned earlier the closest city is Montreal. You know where I'm going with this. So what's it been like being a Leafs fan this last year?
Last year, my entire life.
Oh, yeah, that's true, too.
My entire life, dude.
I would say, dude, 1967 was the last one.
Yeah. So. My old man was 7 years old the last time he got to watch his Leafs win a championship. And it's been nothing. My dad, bless his soul, literally can't watch the Leafs in the playoffs anymore. And he's a big Leafs fan, diehard Leafs fan. He literally can't bring himself to watch the games because he knows after 60 years of existence that they're going to break his heart. And they do every year. And then not only am I a Maple Leafs fan, I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. So if there's two teams in North American professional sport that knows how to blow a lead and break their fans' hearts, the Atlanta Falcons and Toronto Maple Leafs, man, I'm dead inside watching those two teams. It's unbelievable.
So how did you end up becoming a Falcons fan?
I got into football. I started playing football. I didn't watch any NFL. So I bought Madden 2004, maybe 2005. And I created a player and I said, all right, whatever team he gets drafted by, that'll be my favorite NFL team. So he got drafted. I got the luck of the draw. I got drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. And now here we are 16 years later.
That's hilarious.
But I guess at least I wasn't drafted by like the Lions or something. I think that would have been a little bit worse, but
yeah, that would be terrible.
And here actually, in Atlanta, Canada, it's almost all Patriots fans, to be honest.
Yeah, because I could see that.
The games that we got on cable growing up were all like Northeast American channels, like those games. So it was all like AFC East and NFC. So everyone's either a Patriots fan and there's some Cowboys fans. So another reason why I hate the fucking New England Patriots.
Most people do, don't worry. Although we rail on them when they need to be. We talk about a lot. So we're both obviously Patriots fans, but neither one of us can stand like those real like Patriots fans because they're just bitchy about it. Nothing is their fault. Nothing is the team's fault. It's always something else. And it's like, no, maybe you just didn't have it today. I don't know. Maybe today we sucked. You know, that's possible.
My biggest issue with the Patriots, other than the fact that my household is 0-3 in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, because my dad's a Rams fan. So he's the first NFL game I ever watched was the Rams Super Bowl loss to the Patriots. So it didn't get off to a good start right at the beginning. But my issue the past 2 decades with the Patriots is they have a horseshoe stuck up their ass, especially when Brady was there. Like they'd be losing a game, they'd kick it to the other team. And I think the game I'm thinking of specifically is the Chargers. I think it was against the Chargers at the time. All the kick returner had to do in the Chargers was like take a knee, and then like Phillip was going to come out, take a knee in the game. And then he fumbles the football, Patriots recover it, score the game winning touchdown. It just seems like that happens, works in the Patriots' favor time and time again. Maybe not anymore. I think that luck maybe followed Tom Brady. But the tuck rule is another example.
The tuck rule. And then an underrated rule was the Snow Bowl game, which also was the tuck rule, but it was they used to come out and clear the space for the kicker. Like they used to be able to shovel it. Right. And then when Adam Vinatieri hit the field goal in the snow, the league was like, whoa. There's no more sending shovels out there to shovel the spot for the ball.
Right. But I mean, if I'm being unbiased now, and if I'm being serious, I mean, there's obviously no denying how good the Patriots were for those 2 decades. But it just seems like every time that they needed a bounce to go their way, it went their way. Outside of playing the Giants twice in the Super Bowl, the David Tyree catch. I mean, the Falcons Super Bowl against the Patriots, there was the Edelman catch.
Yeah.
It just seemed like every time, except those 2 Super Bowls against the Giants, if they needed a lucky bounce or a team to fumble the ball or throw a bad interception, it just went in their favor all the time. And that bugged me.
Plus the thing is, like, you even hear like around here that like people will say it's like, oh, well, Bill runs such a tight operation that they don't make mistakes and they wait for the other team to make mistakes. But in 2006, Marlon McCree made the pick for the Chargers, started running it back, and then got stripped by Troy Brown, and Troy Brown took the ball first down, going the other. Like,
right?
How did Bill do that?
and there's also just the aspect of how I'm jealous of how many championships Boston has watched. I mean, between the Celtics, the Patriots, the Red Sox, the Bruins, who have also broken my heart as a Leafs fan.
The Bruins have broken my heart every single year of my life outside of 2011.
You got 2011 though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
you have 2000. I don't have anything. My entire life, I've not seen any of my teams win a championship.
Yeah, I was gonna say now's not the time to go on our Bruins thing.
Yeah, yeah. We rip the Bruins up and down every year. Every year. The last 2 years, I've actually nailed spot on what was going to happen to the Bruins, like that as far as like what game they lose in what round, and I got it in back-to-back years. And everyone's like, oh, come on, man, have some faith. And it's like, no, I don't have faith. It's the Bruins. They're going to fucking blow it at some point.
Well, there's always, you guys probably, I don't know if you guys remember this game because you're just used to winning. So like when you win these certain series and games, it's probably just a blip in the radar. But when the Leafs were up on the Bruins in game 7 of what year was that?
2013.
4-1 lead. Third period and Leafs blow it and then lose in overtime. Like that's the story of my life as a sports fan, man.
That was the Bergeron call.
Yeah, that's right.
So
Brad Marchand, I hate Brad Marchand. He's from Halifax, which is where I'm living now. And the entire so we have Nathan MacKinnon, Sidney Crosby, and Brad Marchand, and everyone celebrates Sidney Crosby and Nathan MacKinnon. Billboards up for them and everything. Everyone talks about them and how nice of guys they are. Everyone here hates Brad Marchand, hates him. Like when he comes home and he goes to the bars, I haven't seen him myself, but apparently he's just an asshole.
I can see that. I mean,
I can believe that. Yeah.
He plays like a fucking dickhead. I mean, no doubt he's probably the most talented player. Not the most well-liked. Like everyone loves Bergeron. Bergeron's playmaker, but Marchand's probably the best all-around player on the team. But my God, how many fucking dumb penalties can that guy fucking take just to just ruin everything that's going on? Like all of a sudden he's like throwing a hand in someone's face, or he slashes, just like kind of dings some guy off the helmet. It's like, oh fuck.
Didn't he lick someone a couple of years ago in the playoffs?
Yeah.
That's weird. That's weird.
Yeah, because he was like, well, I'm going to get a penalty for anything else, so I'll just lick this guy. And then the NHL's like, dude, you're not doing that either.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah. But I don't want to trash Boston sports. You guys are nice enough to invite me on your podcast. Here I am trashing Boston sports for the past 30 minutes. But
I mean, we've trashed it pretty hard too. So
yeah.
I mean, everyone gets deservedly crushed when the time comes, and then if they get praise, we'll not talk about it because that was nice.
I think I'd be a lot more calm as a sports fan if I just see one championship. I just want one, because then even if I have like a bad time or bad moments where my team blows leads, at least I can look back and be like, oh yeah, well we did win that year. That was a nice memory. I don't have that.
Yeah, that's like Bruins fans with 2011. Like, we get crushed every year, but we can look back and be like, 2011 was good.
The only thing I have is the golden goal when Canada beat US in the Winter Olympics in Vancouver in overtime. That's like the one sports moment I have that was like a genuinely fun sports moment where I jumped up and down and celebrated. Everything else my entire life has been pain.
Well, I guess this kind of answers the question, but I was thinking, outside of that, do you think it sucks more being a Bruins fan or a Leafs fan? I would say in the last 5 years. Let's keep it to the last 5 years, because obviously, we did win.
I mean, my answer is we haven't even won a playoff series.
Oh, wow, really? See, I didn't know that.
We haven't won a playoff series since 2004.
Holy shit.
When we lost in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Hurricanes. And I remember I was 12 years old and cried. And we haven't won a playoff series since then.
Was that the year the Hurricanes won?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, at least you lost to the champions. So. People say that shit all the time.
But yeah, we haven't won a play. Maybe I'll be happy about what the Leafs have done recently if they win a playoff series, but they can't. They're cursed.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea that the Leafs hadn't won a playoff series.
Yeah. I mean, for a stretch there, when we had it was always the Bruins would beat us in Game 7, and then the Capitals beat us once in Game 7, and then the Blue Jackets beat us in that play-in series last year when we finally had a good team, and then this year we were the top team in Canada, playing against the 4th seed in Canada, 3-1 series lead, and then we blow that too in Game 7. So, no playoff series wins.
Yeah,
it's pain. It's pain.
Oh,
I cannot believe you even just asked that.
Well, I didn't know. I mean, I'm such just a Bruins fan. I had no idea. I don't know what the Leafs are like. I think they just suck. Whatever. They suck. The Bruins suck. Everybody sucks. But apparently the Leafs suck a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the Bruins have at least won a couple playoff series the past few years, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah. Their favorite time to exit is the second round.
Yeah, second round, Game 6.
Yeah. I'd love to watch a second round series.
All right. So this is, I got a legitimate, sports betting, handicapping question. Sure. So him and I we've been betting on sports for, I don't know how long, years. But recently we've tried to, cause we know what we're doing and everything. We've tried to come up with different systems on betting and what works. Yeah. Yeah. And so we've read some stuff, watched some stuff. Obviously, we follow a bunch of different people and different accounts and things like that. And we always see, like the professionals that are like, well, I've got this game, like say in football, they're like, well, I've got this game, Falcons as 4-point favorites, but the spread is 6. So I would go this way. And we sit here and we're like, how in the fuck do you come up with the number 4? And we've debated. And I've been like, dude, I think they literally just sit there and look at stats and be like, I think this is a 4-point game. And then, but Bob thinks there's like more to it. So you, as a professional, as someone who handicaps games, how do you do it?
Well, I want to, I'm not a professional sports bettor. I want to be a little bit clear about that, because I certainly don't make a living betting on sports, or else I would not be working for BetSided. But there's a couple different ways to look at it. So generally, just for anyone who's a sports bettor, a good practice is to look at a game. Don't look at the spread yet. Look at the game. And if you were to set the line at, what would you set the line at? Now, that might just be completely based off your gut feeling, which probably isn't a great practice, or do something like I do, which is I look at a lot of stats. I look at stats, a couple trends, a little bit of an eye test, because especially with NFL, I'm basically watching every single game anyways. So before you even look at the spread or the total, look at a game and what would you set the spread at, and then look at the spread. And if it's different and it would work in your favor, then bet that line. But when we're talking about professional sports bettors, guys who do this for a living, a lot of these guys are computer science guys. A lot of these guys are computer science nerds, and they have algorithms that they have that they're constantly trying to fine tune. In the algorithm, I mean, I'm an idiot, so I don't even know 100% what goes into these algorithms. But it's stats. And certain stats are weighted a very specific way. Other ones are weighted other ways. They have this whole algorithm, and then they just key in the matchup, click enter. And because they have this algorithm that they've been fine tuning for years on years, it spits out what their algorithm would set the spread at. I mean, that's basically how sports books set the lines as well. But sports books, I mean, everyone who does it has a slightly different system. Maybe one, guy values rushing yards or something a little bit more than the next guy. So everyone's going to come out with these little slightly different outcomes. But these professional bettors, how they kind of make money, it's all, they get opening lines as soon as they come out. So if you're waiting to bet on sports, if we're talking NFL, if you wait until the weekend to bet on sports, the line is already adjusted and kind of moved to where those sharp professional bettors think the line should be at. So if you're waiting that long, you're probably not getting what they call CLV, which is closing line value. You're not getting any of that by the time game time starts. You usually have to bet it when the line gets released a week earlier. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a professional sports, but I do good enough where I like walk away even, basically. I lose sometimes I lose a lot, especially this year, January and February. I just got killed. I got killed in January and February this year, but then I'll go on a 2-month spree where I'm winning almost every single day. It usually evens out by the end of the year. But yeah, these professional bettors, they're all computer science guys. They're guys that are way smarter than me. I assume smarter than you guys as well. You guys, no offense, but I mean, yeah. I don't think you guys have a master's degree in computer science. So the guys who I know, like the guy on Twitter, that I refer to a lot as, in my opinion, kind of the picture perfect example of what a professional sports bettor is a guy by the name of Rob Pizzola. I don't know if you guys follow that guy at all, but you just listen to him talk, like his brain works on a level that mine can't even reach if it wanted to. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're just a basic sports bettor, it's generally good practice to just look at a game. What would you set the line at? If you think it's an advantage in your way compared to what the line actually is, then bet it. Yeah. And see what happens.
So I tried to do that a little bit last year with the NFL. Like I had certain stats, and I think I had the beginnings of an algorithm, but I was doing it on like Google Sheets.
Right.
So it's a pain in the ass. And like every week I have to like re-update everything. It was like, and it's
a lot of work.
Yeah. I would just assume that like these guys probably have some sort of software that does it automatically for them, or, they pay for the top tier access to whatever Pro Football Focus or any of those places with all those stats that I don't.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I have trouble working an Excel sheet just to like figure out like, basic math or like a basic like accounting sheet or something on Excel. I certainly can't figure out an algorithm for sports betting. So it's a full-time job, those guys.
Yeah. And it gave me false hope because I can't remember specifically what the statistics were. But it was offensive, defensive. It was some sort of combination of like rushing, passing, and all this stuff. Right. And I came out of the gate last season real hot. I think in the first like 6 weeks, I might have been plus like 12 units. And then very quickly after that, everything fell apart. Because like I said, it was like false hope. It was like, oh my God, I have this algorithm figured out.
Right.
And that's part of the debate that him and I have been having, where he's like, no, you don't.
I mean, these professional bettors, like I keep saying, are geniuses, and they still work on their algorithms for years to kind of fine tune it. That's why, I mean, you guys follow me on Twitter. You probably know how much I hate Twitter touts all the time. That's what makes me so angry about these guys, is that they go on Twitter and they're clearly fucking morons. Like, they're like Jersey Shore, hey, I got a pick for this game, I'm undefeated this month. It's like, really? You think these are the guys that are outsmarting the sports books? These morons with a fake tan and a gold chain telling you to pay $500 for their picks? You think these are the guys outsmarting the sports books? No, it's the nerds that like don't go out and don't talk and just spend all day working on algorithms and things like that. So it's tough, man. I'm not smart enough to do it. I think I've kind of developed my own little strategy where, like I said, I can bet on sports all year round. And at the end of the year, I'll be either up a little tiny bit or down a little tiny bit. And I'm happy with that, because at the end of the day, it's for entertainment. It makes sports a lot more exciting to watch.
Yeah, it definitely does. That is definitely true. When you're, when it's a Tuesday night baseball game between, the Blue Jays and the Royals, it makes it a lot more interesting if there's some stakes involved.
Yeah, exactly. It makes everything a little bit more exciting. That's what I think is the beauty of sports betting, and that's what I think more people will start to understand, because every single person before they start betting on sports, they think, oh, it's not that hard, I'll get rich off that. But no, like it's maybe 1% of people, probably less than 0.5% of people, and the people who work at it year after year perfecting their algorithms are the only people going to make money. And still, they're going to have months where they're going to lose. And they're going to lose a lot, because those professional sports bettors bet like thousands of dollars a game. So you got to have some balls to be able to do that as well. They're not doing like $10 parlays and making livings off that. They're putting $2,500 on, like you said, the Blue Jays against the Royals on a Tuesday night. So
yeah,
I don't even think I'd want to live in that existence, because I stress out enough about my small little bets compared to those. So
yeah, we got a buddy that started getting into sports betting, like, because we were talking about it a lot, and that was his thought. He was just going to make, well, it actually, was it last year or the year before? I don't know if you follow Barstool Sports, but they like made this post of like someone's parlay ticket, and they had bet like 75 cents and then walked away with like 12 grand,
right?
Because it was just an absurd thing.
Yeah.
So like his thing was like, well, I'm just going to start doing that. And his thought process was, well, eventually I'll hit. And I was like, I don't know, man.
That's like, well, that's you may as well buy a lottery ticket.
That's exactly, yeah. That's the same thought process. That's what I tried to explain to him, but
yeah, it's a lot of work to lose $1 at a time or whatever he was going to do. $1.10, because I think the minimum wager amount was $1.
Yeah, he said that to us one time as if like we could like sympathize.
He wanted to put like a quarter on the game.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He was like, dude, can you believe they have a minimum bet you have to make? And like, that's what he said. So I was like, dude, what website are you using? What's going on? I was like, what is the minimum? He's like, oh, it's $1. What the fuck are you doing trying to bet less than $1?
I mean, I do know some guys who that's how they bet, is just do crazy parlays for like $1. But I mean, as long as you realize that you're not going to get rich off that, some guys were like, yeah, I like risking $1, and then maybe once every 6 months I'll win like $2,000 or something, or once every 5 years I'll win $2,000. They're just chasing that high of a big payout, and that's kind of what excites them. But it's not for me. As long as you realize that it's a losing strategy, who am I to say anything?
We've got another buddy that's got a horseshoe up his ass. He hits like stupid parlays all the time.
Yeah, I got a friend who had a winning DraftKings lineup. He won like 10K on a DraftKings lineup, and for like the next 2 years, he thought he was like a sports betting expert. And he used to like talk down to me and be like, "Hey, if you want tips, let me know." And he, of course, has not won since. And he's probably blown all of his winnings on DraftKings lineups, thinking that he could win again, and he hasn't.
Yeah. It's rare, especially like you said, like if you don't know what you're doing, like if you don't, because that's the thing with these guys, they're legitimate professionals. So like we go to work during the day and then come home and then try and figure out sports betting.
Right.
And like these guys, their job is to figure out sports betting.
Yeah, and an important thing to remember is these professional sports bettors hit at, if they had a fantastic season, and we're talking spread bets, obviously, they're hitting at like a high 50 rate, like 57, 58%. That's why they have to bet thousands of dollars every single game. Because if you're betting $10 every single game for the duration of the season and you hit it 57%, which would be a fantastic season of betting, you'd be up like a couple $100. That's why they know they're going to only win 57% of the time. So they have to gamble like thousands of dollars at a time. So then that win margin ends up being enough where they can make a living off it. So yeah, that's why all the time, I mean, the people on Twitter chirp people when they lose a bet. It's like, listen, people who do this for a living lose, 48% of the time.
Almost half the time.
Yeah. So you're predicting the future. That's what sports betting is. You're trying to predict the future. It's difficult. Who knew?
Yeah. Not Miss Cleo.
Yeah, exactly.
Should just go to her for picks.
Yeah, that would work. Get the crystal ball out.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's probably about that time. Should we start wrapping this thing up?
Yeah.
All right. But when we get to the end of our show, we just do this thing called final thoughts.
Sure.
We just kind of anything. It could be anything you got on your mind, anything related to what we talked about, what not, whatever. But
so I'm gonna start this one, and my final thought is a question for Iain.
Okay.
And a little bit of background. So Iain, obviously Bobby Orr is a great hockey player that played for the Boston Bruins. And people from Boston area, who definitely have never been to Canada, like to tell me that if I was to ask a Canadian, they would tell me that Bobby Orr is the greatest hockey player of all time, and not Wayne Gretzky. So now that I am here virtually face-to-face with a Canadian, have you ever heard that Bobby Orr is better than Wayne Gretzky, according to Canadians?
I think you'd be hard pressed to find anyone to say that, to be honest. But I mean, I have heard people say, if it's not Wayne Gretzky, it would be Bobby Orr. But I mean, I don't think you can make a strong argument against Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky might be the best athlete of all time as far as like a domination in a single sport.
This is what people say though. It's like they go, no, Bobby Orr's better than Gretzky. Ask a Canadian, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hate on Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr is one of the all-time greats. But I mean, you could take away all of Wayne Gretzky's goals and just go off his assists, and he would still be the leading point scorer in NHL history. I mean, in fantasy hockey back in the day, Wayne Gretzky was two players. You draft Wayne Gretzky goals or Wayne Gretzky assists. It was nuts.
Yeah.
But I mean, all the respect to Bobby Orr, and also one of the greatest sports photos of all time of him scoring that winning goal and then being tripped and he's like midair. I mean, that's a top 5 sports photo of all time. So
yeah.
I love Bobby Orr, but no, you ask 10,000 Canadians who the best NHL, 9,999 would say Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, they almost make it seem like Wayne Gretzky isn't Canadian, so it's like they almost make it seem like he's Russian or something. So it's
right.
like, oh well, if you ask the Canadians, they'll say Bobby Orr because he's one of them. It's like, no, they're both one of them. And Wayne Gretzky, no one is touching Wayne
significantly
Gretzky.
better.
No,
and Bobby Orr's probably too, unless we want to get into a debate with Gordie Howe, which I'm not interested in. But
that was the other player I was going to bring.
That's what we're talking here.
Yeah.
But according to Sully from Charlestown, who's never left the confines of Boston, well, I asked a Canadian, it's Bobby Orr, they'll tell you.
No, Wayne Gretzky is the greatest Canadian athlete of all time too, and I don't think there's too much debate about that.
Yeah. So this actually just popped into my head. This is random, has nothing to do with anything. But Wayne Gretzky being like one of the most dominant sports players, who do you think, in your opinion, was more dominant, Wayne Gretzky or Tiger Woods?
Great question. That's tough. I think I would go Tiger Woods. And maybe do you guys golf at all?
Yeah, we're both big golfers. He's actually a very good golfer. I golf a lot and pretty much suck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not great either. I like shooting the 90s. But because of that, I know how difficult golf is. So we're I still once a month, I'll go back and just look at just like Tiger's record. Like he's still even past his prime. He still has what, like a 15% win percentage, like in his tournaments, or 20% win percentage. Like there was a time we won like 6 events in a row. Like that'll never be touched. And now Wayne Gretzky's stats will never be touched, but a big reason of that because the game has changed so much. It was a lot more of a high scoring game back then, and just hockey's. That's why his records won't be touched. But Tiger's records won't be touched just because he was a once in a generational talent.
Yeah, we talk about that quite a bit. Like I said, we're both golf fans, and with obviously Colin Morikawa winning, he's one of like 6 people under the age of 25 to win 2 majors. So one of the things I always ask Bob is like, all these guys, like these golfers, like they don't really have the staying power. Like Tiger was dominant for like 15 years. And these guys come and go. Like everyone said Rory was the next Tiger, and then he faded. And they said, well, Spieth is the next Tiger, and he faded. And then it was, JT. And then I said the closest thing we've seen is Dustin Johnson, but he's such a distant second. And
he's faded recently. And the reason why is because golf is such a psychological sport as opposed to other sports. I don't think people who don't golf don't realize how psychological golf is. You have to have that killer instinct. You have to have confidence. You can't let the mistakes kind of get to you. You have to be in that, in the zone, tournament after tournament, year after year. And I think the guys you list are all extremely talented golfers, and they had kind of their moment in the sun, but to keep up that psychological edge on their opponents. And I mean, there's 150 people in golf tournaments, and then Tiger Woods would win tournament after tournament after tournament. And just to keep that kind of psychological edge year after year for so long. I mean, I don't think that can be mimicked in any sport, because every sport has a psychological aspect to it, but not like golf.
He quite literally changed the game and changed some courses. Like they altered the layout of, I don't know how many courses, the big one is Augusta.
Yeah.
Because he would just go and just crush everybody. And they were like, oh, well, I guess we have to, add some trees over here and take some away over there.
Get a cable for that branch so we can lower it down for the tournament and pull it back up.
I think that's my favorite, like, well, I don't even know what that's called, tidbit of information.
Yeah, that's good.
Was that the 13th?
It's on 13 down the left side. There's a branch that lowers on a cable. So anyone that tries to cut the corner has to deal with that branch, but they pull it up for the membership because it doesn't matter for them. But
that's awesome.
I heard one guy who teaches strategy with golf. It's the only sport that is not played on a uniform field, court, surface, whatever. And it's the only sport that's taught outside of the field of play. You don't learn golf on a golf course typically. You usually learn on a range. And every golf course is different. Weather's different. Tees are different, whatever. So
that's what I love about golf most. You're playing against other guys, but really you're playing against the course.
Yeah. And you can always you can always use your score. You can always because I play a ton by myself. I sneak out in the middle of the day. I don't need anybody to play against. I can always just play against my own performance or, whatever it takes.
I wish the PGA did some more match play events. I know they have that one WGC match play event every year, but I actually wish the PGA Championship went back to match play format. I love match play.
Well, even if you take the way the Ryder Cup, because the thing about the Ryder Cup is they actually make the course somewhat easy. It's not easy, but somewhat comparatively to what they play. So guys make birdies, whatever. And we just saw this in Massachusetts, which if you watch the Masters in 2018, there was the firefighter from Massachusetts that made it as an AM. And great player. He's mid-30s now, shot 67 on the front in their match play and was down 6 because some kid came in and shot 62 against them. And it's you're looking at the scores, that's 5 under and then 10 under. So they were 15 under as a 2-ball in their first 18 holes. And it's dude, just let the guys do this. Like they'll be rolling putts in, they'll be walking putts. Like the crowd will be charged. Like they should do so. They do need some different stuff, whether they change a major or not. But you gotta get some other stuff going with these guys.
Another thing.
Even with the Stableford event, it's the Barracuda, so It's the opposite to the WGC. But most recreational golfers would really like Stableford scoring if it was normalized here. It's normalized in Europe, but we're always playing stroke playing, relative to par, and it's always play the tips. And it's like these dudes will move up Stableford score and be like, I got 40 points. And I say that to someone around here, they're like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
Right. Another thing I'd like to see the PGA Tour do, the European Tour just did a few weeks back, is have a co-ed event, guys against girls. I don't know if you guys saw that, the European Tour and whatever the women's version of the European Tour, they have an event every year. They just started a few years ago, and they just let the women tee off from, closer. And it was, still, I think 70% of the people who made the cut were still men, and the winner was a guy, but like there was a girl that finished like T4 or something like that.
Wow.
That'd be neat. I think it'd be neat if the PGA Tour did that with the LPGA.
Well, especially just get more eyeballs on them, because they are like, and I always say, because some people always ask, it's like the LPGA plays from a length that more or less is like, it's about 6,500, 6,600 yards, which is a little bit long for average like blue tees that you'll see like in Massachusetts. Like if you move back, it's closer to that, but it's like, dude, I play on that, and I don't shoot 6 under, 7 under, 8 under. I definitely wouldn't shoot 20, 25 under over 4 days, but idiots on Twitter for handicap can go into those events and compete.
Those women on the LPGA are unbelievably good. So I think one kind of co-ed event would get a lot more eyes on them.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe they should do they should try another match, because they love doing that stupid thing now.
Yeah. Do you guys like those things?
I mean, the first one was great. After that, I don't know. It's fine. Like I'll watch it if it's on, but like I didn't even know this one was on. What was that, last week, 2 weeks ago?
Right. Yeah, it was on like a Tuesday.
Yeah, I had no idea. I found out on Twitter, like people were tweeting about it, and I was like, oh shit, this is on.
I have 2 issues with them. Number one, I don't like the fact that the money's for charity. Now that sounds bad to say, because of course charity is a good thing, but like at the end of the day, the guys are only going to get so competitive because they're not winning or losing money, and the money's going to go to the charity regardless who wins. So and that's part of the reason why the first match between Tiger and Phil was so captivating, because it wasn't for charity. It was, I don't know, did they put up their own money? Like, was it a bet, or was it just the winner got a certain amount? Whatever it was, the winner, Phil, got that money. It didn't go to charity. So as much as charity is all good, it's kind of hard to be a little bit, that extra competitive edge when you're not going to get any of the money. And also, I wish they would just kind of roll back the production a little bit. Just let the guys go out there, mic them up. They have it so overproduced now. They got to interview people between every hole, and they can't have any silence during the broadcast. I need someone talking all the time, which annoys me. Just if there's silent moments, let there be silent moments. Mic up the guys, follow them around with a couple cameras, and I think it would be a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you're right about the production. It's like you need to get this on a format where you can let the guys talk shit. If you're going to have, again, a broadcast, I would love to see these people get creative in whether it's like the guys from No Laying Up or the guys from like For the People, or even just get current golfers to do the broadcast. And I know they're not experienced in broadcasting, but they're current with golf. They're not 4,000 years old.
Right.
Just even when Justin Thomas was on the course for the second one, and he's talking shit to Charles Barkley, like that's not bad. Let them do that.
Yeah.
Roll Kevin Kisner, Pat Perez, let them fucking shotgun beers. Like let them do whatever they want to do, and it's gonna be great.
Bring out a barefooted John Daly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That just kind of shows the transition sports media is going through right now, where it's just the old guard just refuses to die off and refuses to recognize anything that's on the internet as being legitimate, and everything has to go the old school way. So hopefully that's going to start to change with time.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good way to look at it, because it's more like, well, that would never sell. You know what I mean? Like I could see like the old guys, like that old guard being like, you can't put that on TV. Yeah, but like people our age, like that's what we want.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we consume stuff like podcasts and things like that aren't, you know, proper and polished. I mean, I'm standing in my fucking bedroom right now. I mean, granted, but also because my house is under construction and this is the only room that's left. So for the next couple months, this is my house. But like, you know what I mean? Like people like this shit.
Yeah, definitely. It's relatable.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, again, with like, if you got no laying up to do the broadcast, I know they're not media, they're not TV, but like they are media. They do a podcast, like they do live videos, like they're fucking, like they're all, so all of them are very knowledgeable, very good at golf. I know they get in their disputes with whoever over angles and God knows what, like whatever. But it's like, let them do it. They know what they're talking about. They're in the golfer's ear. Like they know what we want to see. Yeah. Just let them do it. And you don't have to pay them as much as fucking Charles Barkley. Like,
right. That's another good point.
It'll never happen though, because the networks need to get their guys and contracts and TV and whatever. But that's why, like,
let's bring. All right, we'll go to Barack Obama now between the third and fourth hole. Let's hear his thoughts. Now, he's going to say something really original, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And off the cuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that goofy Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing he ever does is measured and pre-planned.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everyone knows Barack shoots from the hip, Obama.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows what hot take Barack's going to come out with now?
All right, so I think for my final thought, we went on a huge tangent there.
We do that,
but we do that all the time. Whatever.
It's the beauty of podcasts.
Yeah. For my final thought, I also have another question. We're just peppering you with questions.
Sure.
I am super interested in your love for bacon. Like, where did that come from?
I don't even. Who doesn't love bacon?
That's
right?
A good point.
Right. So this is another conversation we've had, I think, on a previous episode, because we were talking about, you know, reaching out to you and trying to get you on the show beforehand, believe it or not. And we were talking about, do they call it Canadian bacon in Canada? No. Canadian
bacon's like its own. I've never even had Canadian bacon. Like Canadian bacon's like its own, like separate cut. Like it's a different cut of meat.
Yeah, it's just like ham, right? Because I mean, it looks like ham to me.
I've never had it. And I don't think people even, like in here, I don't even think we have it or even refer to it as Canadian bacon.
So that's weird.
Not really a thing in our mind.
So Canadian bacon is an American thing.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, if like I went to the grocery store and tried to buy it, I don't think it'd be called Canadian bacon.
Probably be called ham, because that's what it is.
Is that what it is? It basically just ham?
Basically.
Yeah, I think it was like some stupid like marketing thing where like probably like breakfast ham wasn't doing well. So they were like, I don't know, people love bacon, let's call it Canadian bacon.
Also, I have a thing against turkey bacon. They should not call that. Just call it like turkey strips or something. That stuff's not bacon. It's like cardboard. But also, I was thinking what the origin of bacon was. I think it goes back to when I was in university, because I still do. I cook basically the exact same meals every single day. I've eaten eggs and bacon in the morning in some form. Sometimes I just fry it. Sometimes I make an omelet. But I eat eggs and bacon every morning for probably the past decade. So when I was in university, my friends used to make fun of me because every morning I would cook bacon. And I slow cook it. Like I like put it on the fryer and I put it to like 2 or 3 and just like let it sit for like an hour. So I think it just became kind of a running joke when I was in university that I was a bacon guy, because I ate it every single morning. I was very specific with how it got cooked. And then I think a couple of years ago at Odd Shark, we did like a Halloween episode of the Guys and Bets show that we used to do. I don't know if you guys ever watched it at all, but we did like a Halloween episode. I had to go buy a costume. I went to the costume store and there was literally just a costume of a piece of bacon. I was like, well, this is the most perfect costume I could ever find. So it just kind of took off from there.
That is pretty awesome. That's I may have to try that. I mean, that's a very, you can tell you're definitely not American when you say you slow cook your bacon. It's like everyone here is like, I don't have time for that bullshit. Like, give me that done quick.
People
like,
burn their bacon all the time. It's disgusting. Like if you
Yeah.
touch your bacon and it like crumbles into a million pieces, and that's how most people cook it. They just like crank it up to as high of a temperature as possible. You're ruining the bacon.
Yeah, that's
It's painful when I see
gross.
that.
But I can see the low and slow would actually help the fat render out.
It makes it a perfect mix of chewy, but also a little bit crunchy.
I might
So
have to try that.
When I get up in the morning, that's the first thing I do is I toss on my bacon, and then I jump in the shower and I get ready for the day. And then basically when I'm like ready and dressed and showered and washed, the bacon's ready. And then I toss on the eggs. Eggs take 5 minutes. There's my breakfast. Basically every day for the past day.
That's incredible.
Yeah. I go through phases where like where I do like omelets, or maybe I'll do like wraps. I go through those phases, but
In some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form, it's eggs and bacon.
I'm getting bacon. Sometimes
like
I'll double up. I'll toss bacon into my meal for dinner too. Toss bacon in my pasta. So I eat a lot of bacon. It's not good. I read a study a few years ago that like bacon like increases your chance of colon cancer by like 50% or something. So I'm almost definitely going to die of colon cancer, but I try to buy the bacon now that has natural preservatives instead of artificial preservatives, because apparently that's what causes the cancer. So
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
but him and I both come from like exercise science backgrounds. So like I can tell you, definitely not as a professional, but anytime you see that stupid bullshit, it's going to be like the preservatives and what's in it
Yeah.
versus like the thing itself.
Nitrates.
Yeah.
right.
Anything that looks like it would blow up in a chemistry lab, that's what you want to avoid.
Right.
Really.
So I pay the extra 50 cents or $1 a pack to get natural preservatives now with my bacon, and hopefully that's going to save me from getting colon cancer here.
Couple loonies and toonies.
Couple loonies and toonies, bud. That's right. A little loony for you. I never noticed that until like I was an adult, how like weird that is. We call our $1 and $2 coins loonies and toonies. Get a fucking loony, bud. We don't have $1 bills.
That is crazy. I feel like that gets heavy. Like you get a bunch of those in your pocket. Like, isn't that kind of like jangly or like heavy? No?
Yeah, I mean,
But you just not carry them. Does no one use them?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it certainly can, but really, at the end of the day, I don't know if it's the same. Who carries change anymore?
Yeah, that's true.
I almost
So
never
you don't
have
have paper dollar bills?
Not $1 bills. No, it starts at 5 for us. So we have loonies and toonies. Loonies and toonies are 1 and 2, and then we start the bills at 5. And our bills are colored too.
I just imagine like going into a Canadian strip club would be significantly different than in America because I can't imagine you would throw coins.
No.
Like a wishing well.
Yeah. Like a wishing well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I've only been to 2 strip clubs because they don't exist in the city that I live in. I don't even know what I did.
You probably didn't throw any heavy. I don't think
you. Yeah, I don't think you do any of that. I don't even know if you tip them.
Wow.
I think you just pay for lap dances.
Huh.
And if you tip them, I guess at least it's at least a $5 bill. So maybe being a stripper in Canada is the way to go.
That's the way it's got to be.
Apparently. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, to be honest.
I don't know why that was my first thought.
We definitely don't throw coins at them, but that would be kind of fun. That would be painful too. We don't have pennies. Do you guys still have pennies?
Yeah, we do. But like apparently in the last year, there's been like a coin shortage. I don't even know what that means. But they still exist. They've been talking about getting rid of them forever, but they haven't.
Yeah, we did probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. Pennies don't exist here anymore.
Yeah.
Wow, and your economic currency system didn't completely collapse, because that's what I heard. Is get rid of the penny, everything's going to become more expensive, and then we're going to go into like the dark ages.
No. If you pay with debit or credit, then it doesn't matter. And if you pay with cash, you round up or round down, like 5 cents. So it works out. It's fine. My life has been a little bit easier without pennies being around.
So you heard it here first. What did we learn today? Iain MacMillan says, fuck charities.
Yeah. There's one thing you got to take away from this. It's that I hate charities.
The penny is useless.
Yep. Slow cook your bacon.
Yep. And slow cook your bacon. There you go. And don't be a Leafs fan.
Yeah, and don't for God's sakes, don't be a Leafs or a Falcons fan. It's not worth
it. So I guess I'll open up the floor to you if you have a final thought or anything you'd like to say, or even if you just want to tell everyone, where they can find you, what you got going on.
Yeah, I don't really know how many final thoughts I have here. How far of a drive is it from New York to Massachusetts?
Like the city?
I don't know. where are you guys in Boston? Are you outside Boston?
We're just outside Boston.
Okay. We're in New York. Are you going to be in New York City?
Yeah, I'm going to be in New York City. Like I was just saying, maybe I'll take a drive. We'll go for a round of golf together sometime or something.
Yeah, I would definitely. Yeah, we can always meet, in Connecticut somewhere too, somewhere in the middle.
Connecticut.
I mean, you'll quickly learn that Connecticut sucks and it's the worst state
ever. I'll go to New York.
Yeah.
So, like, how far of a drive is it? Like 4 hours, 5 hours?
Yeah, tops. Like it's 4 hours with traffic.
Yeah, so that's if I have to go anywhere here, it's at least 5 hour drive. So that's nothing for me.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, cities are few and far between here. The next closest city would be Moncton. That's a 4 hour drive from where I'm at.
How big is Nova Scotia? I thought it was this tiny little island.
I mean, it's decent. I don't know. As far as
geography wasn't my strong suit, but I thought it was this little tiny thing on the map.
I think it's a little bit. To drive from one end of Nova Scotia to the other end, from Yarmouth up to Sydney Mines, it'd be probably 9 hours.
Wow,
that's pretty good. That's bigger than Oklahoma. Not as big as Texas.
Yeah.
But also because we have such a small population, we literally have one main highway. So it's not like it's a straight line. Like you can't actually drive a straight line. You'd have to go up the West Coast and then it crosses over to the East Coast down to Halifax and then back up. So unless you want to drive the back roads, but I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, there's not much going on here, boys. There's a reason why I'm getting out of this shithole. Watch Trailer Park Boys and you'll understand.
I might go watch it right after this now.
Yeah. It's Letterkenny is a good depiction of like normal, like Ontario, rural Canada, and especially like guys those age. But like if you want to find out what the East Coast is like, Trailer Park Boys is the perfect depiction. Perfect. It's almost 2 on the nose.
And it's parodying your town, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's based in Halifax. Yeah, they go to like Dartmouth High School sometimes in the show. That's literally like I could throw a rock to Dartmouth High School from where I'm at right now. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know if I have any final thoughts. I appreciate you guys having me on, and maybe we'll meet up in person at some point. Maybe we'll do this again at some time. I don't know. Absolutely. That's all I have for you. So.
Yeah, yeah, we'd love to have you. And then if you ever need help with anything, we've got a couple friends. We could probably marry you off and get you a green card. Perfect. If you want to stick around.
Perfect. Also, if you know anyone who's looking for a roommate in New York City, let me know because it's very difficult to find a roommate apparently. So
I can imagine. Yeah. Also for a reasonable price too.
Well, yeah, that's why I need a roommate because it's $2,000 to live in a shoebox for a month in New York City. It's fucked.
Yeah. So the whole apartment's the size of the bedroom I'm in right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Probably smaller than that for $2,000 a month. It's crazy.
That's wild. All right. Well, thank you, Iain. So you're at, where can people find you? Like,
best place to find me is on Twitter. That's kind of where I live. Iain Mac Betts. And I spell my name with an extra I. So it's IAINMACBETS. And check out BetSided. I write articles on BetSided every day. It's a brand new website. It literally just launched a couple months ago when I started. So we're slowly starting to ramp things up as we get closer to NFL season. We'll have more videos and things coming out of that kind of nature as we get closer to football season. So Iain Mac Betts on Twitter. Check out betsided.com. That's all I got. It's Iain Mac Betts on Instagram too, but I hardly ever post on Instagram. So
all right.
There you go.
That's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
And congratulations with the new job and good luck with the travel. Hopefully you don't get stopped at the border.
Yeah, thank you. Let me in, please.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for being with us today. We are Sarcasm Speaks. I'm Jared Mello. He was Bobby Dadero. And big thanks to our guest, Iain MacMillan, today from BetSided. You can find us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. We're on Facebook at Sarcasm Speaks. Our Twitter page is Sarcasm_Speaks. Wherever you're listening or watching right now, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're listening, just the audio, head on over to the iTunes store. Give us 5 stars. Leave us a little review over there. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment below. All that engagement helps us out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this today. It was a blast for us. And hopefully we get some more interviews coming for you in the future. And also throwing it out there, if you're still listening at this point, and you are maybe you're a loyal listener, maybe you're a new listener, reach out to us on social media, whether it's at Sarcasm Speaks Pod on Instagram or Sarcasm_Speaks on Twitter. Slide right in those DMs. And if you're interested in getting on, we'll have you on. We'll make it work. We'll find a time and a day, and we'll do that. You know, we are for the people, by the people here at Sarcasm Speaks. So, again, hopefully we get some more fun interviews for you in the future. So, until next time, good night, everybody.